All right, there we go. We're live, guys. What's going on? Here to break down the 9-game NBA slate. There is a lot of news to go over. So let's start with what we know so far. Okay, so beginning of the day here, we got Kevin Porter Jr. ruled out. We have Nance out as well. So Cleveland is somewhat thin. I think we can consider some of those secondary pieces. Derek White starting for DeJounte Murray. I think he stands out as a pretty decent value play. We have Brad Beal questionable, still waiting on that. We have the Hawks news just up in the air. I don't know. I really wish some of these guys were playing because I don't like targeting these Atlanta guys. But we have Collins out, Jabari out, Crabbe's good to go. But we also have Cam Reddish out. It's just a kind of a headache. And they still, even with all those guys out, they still have, a lot of guys to give minutes to. And then, let's see. Yeah, Cam Reddish ruled out as well. Jabari and John Collins out, like I said. They're starting Trae Young, Herter, Hunter, Bruno Fernando, and Damian Jones next to each other. It's a situation where I'm just like, I mean, we can target some of the cheap guys for sure. I just have no idea what the minutes are going to be like. Let's see. Brad Beal ruled out. Another piece of the puzzle here, so that's pretty significant. Jordan McRae starting for Brad Beal. I think he stands out as a really good play at his price now. Yeah, bear with me here as I might be looking at my phone as well because I'm still messing with my lineup as I do this live stream. But let's look at some numbers here. So we have Jazz Magic at 206.5. The Jazz are by 5. We have Pacers Hawks at 221. Pacers are by 7.5. We have Thunder Cavs 213.5. OKC for by 7. We have Celtics Bulls 209.5. Bulls are 1 point favorites surprisingly there. Hornets Mavs sitting at 216.5. Mavs favored by 12. We have Pistons Warriors 215. Pistons favored by 3. Spurs Bucks 228 with the Bucks favored by 12. And late night hammer here is Pelicans Kings sitting at 225.5. But yeah, let's go team by team here. So I'll make it pretty easy with this first game. This is the standalone early game of the slate. I am targeting absolutely no one. I don't think we have to do it. I think fading this game is ideal because it buys you a little bit more time for more news. Again, we're still waiting on some stuff. So I really think that the optimal build here is just fade this game and move on. I just really don't think anyone stands out. I mean, Joe Ingles, I guess, would be my favorite player there in the Jazz, but I'm not going to do it. On the Orlando side, again, not for me. We have Aaron Gordon back. Vucevic and Gobert, it's a tough spot. It's a complete fade for me. I'll make it really easy so we can move on from that game. We got OKC and Cleveland. On the OKC side, I think the kind of the big four there, or I guess any of these five with CP3, SGA, Steven Adams, Schroeder, and Gallinari stand out as pretty solid plays. It's always kind of the same thing though. No one significantly stands out. Now SGA has been really good the last 3 games. If you want to ride the hot streak, that's perfectly fine with me. Same with CP3, he's been pretty solid. His price is coming up, but it's a pretty good spot here against the Cavs. If you land at Adams, Schroeder, Gallinari, that's fine. I don't think any of those guys really stand out though. So that's basically it for OKC. I'm fine if you land at CP3. I'm fine if you land at SGA. Same with those other 3 guys. So I don't think I'm going to go out of my way to play any of them. Again, if you're a guy that likes riding the hot hand, you can go SGA. He's been pretty solid last 3 games. On the Cleveland side, I think Kevin Love stands out as a pretty decent play at 7.3. It's whether or not are you going to go more stars and scrubs, which might be the ideal way to go now that we have a lot of injuries opening up stuff, right? So I think a lot of these guys in the mid-range might go a bit lower owned. I think Kevin Love stands out as a pretty good play. I think he'd probably be my favorite play in this game at 7.3. Tristan Thompson is okay, but I would just prefer paying a little bit more for Love, who I think has more upside. Sexton, probably not for me, but we do have no Kevin Porter Jr. and we do have no Larry Nance. So I think CD Osman and Garland stand out as pretty decent options. I think CD maybe gets closer to 30 minutes at 4.3K. And then Garland's been getting some decent run already. I think that kind of just locks him in for good minutes, about 30 or so, maybe a little bit more. And he's at 4.6, so I think stands out as a pretty decent option as well if you're going looking for cheap plays. The other options, you can take shots here with Exum or I don't really know who else is going to get more run here, but I wouldn't feel confident about it. So I think my main targets here would be Love at the top, and then I don't mind Garland and CD Osman there kind of as cheaper plays. Pacers Hawks, this is the game where it opens up, where there's just a lot of news to talk about. So Okay. We'll start with the Pacers side. We have no Brogdon. Obviously, Snow Oladipo hasn't played yet this season. But with no Malcolm Brogdon, that opens up more minutes for Aaron Holiday, who got in foul trouble last game, only played 22 minutes. I think in a close game, he plays about 30 or so, maybe a little bit more. And this is one of the best possible spots against the Hawks, who are playing at a really, really fast pace. So I do like Aaron Holiday a good amount at 5.6K. I know it's a little bit expensive, but I think he stands out as a pretty solid play. Sabonis, I do like as well. I mean, Atlanta is super, super thin in the front court, right? They're starting Bruno Fernando and Damian Jones. I think this could be a game where Sabonis could have one of those huge upside games, so I like him if you have the salary for him. Lamb and Warren, probably not for me. Those guys are okay, but I just like the other three starters with Sabonis, Aaron Holiday, and then Miles Turner as well. The downside of Turner is the minutes are a little bit more up and down. But, if he gets extended to like 30 or so at this price point, it's a really good spot. Atlanta, a lot of their front court is out. So I think Turner and Sabonis in the front court, and then Aaron Holiday stand out as pretty good plays here on the Indiana side. McConnell, I don't mind getting there, 4.8. He did get a little extended because Aaron Holiday got in foul trouble last game. I think he's fine if you land on him. And then that's really it. So the main interest for me is Sabonis at the top, and then Aaron Holiday and Miles Turner kind of in the mid-range there in one of the best possible spots against the Hawks. Now I'm going to try to break down this Atlanta Hawks team. It's just a headache. So no John Collins, no Jabari Parker, no Cam Reddish. We have Crabbe available to play. The thing is, they just have a lot of guys that can still use, even with all these guys out, right? So they have Goodwin, who's been getting some decent run. They have Vince Carter that can dust off for an extra few minutes. They have, again, Crabbe. They have Bembry. They have Evan Turner they can use. They just have so many bodies they can use where even with all these guys out, I still don't think anyone stands out as a great play. Parsons might get, a little bit of run. They could dust him off. Who knows? Like, they just have a bunch of wings and guys they can use that can get some run. We do have Jones and Fernando starting in the front court. Now, I really don't know how many minutes these guys are going to play. I think, the Indiana does run big, so that is a positive for these guys. They're both min-price. They're both starting. My best guess is they both get about 15 to 20 minutes. And at min-price, they're fine as value plays if you're going more stars than scrubs. I just can't recommend with confidence these guys because I just don't see them playing more than like 20 or so minutes. So, yeah, if you land in Jones, if you land in Fernando, that's fine. I don't think they're absolutely going to kill you. I think about 15 to 20 is probably a good projection for their minutes. Len is the guy that has more upside, and he is more expensive. But I think he gets around 20 to 25. And with all those guys out for the Hawks besides Trae Young, I think he does have upside in him. So I do like Len a decent amount at that price. As far as the other secondary pieces in the starting lineup with Herter and Hunter, they're fine. Again, guys, they still have a lot of options they can use, right? Goodwin, Carter, Bembry, Turner, Parsons, and no one ever really plays huge minutes for those guys. So that's why I'm still, even with all these guys out, I'm not super, super excited about a lot of the Hawks. My main interest here is Trae Young at 9.5. The do-it-all guy, they're super, super thin. Malcolm Brogdon being out does help them, so I really like Trae Young at this price. If they're going to keep it close, he's going to have a big game, and he's priced under 10K, so Trae Young really stands out to me. So I'd probably rank my interest here for the Hawks as Trae Young, number one, probably Alex Len, 2, and then Damian Jones and Fernando, I guess, at the min-price. Like, can you take a shot on these other wings with Parsons, Turner, Bembry, Vince Carter? Sure. I just can't recommend it with confidence. Those guys, if you're making multiple lineups, you can throw bits and pieces in there, but still, it's still a situation I don't feel great about. Denver, Washington, so there is a more blowout risk now that we have no Beal. So, the main three guys I have interest here are Jokic, Jamal Murray, and Will Barton. All are a little pricey. I mean, Jokic at 9.4 does stand out, but he goes in these phases. I talk about it all the time where he has great games, a stretch of great games, and then he has a stretch of like games where he just takes off. He's kind of in that stretch right now, 33, 34, and 29 fantasy points. It's literally one of the best possible spots, if not the best matchup in NBA right now. So I think Jokic does stand out as a pretty good play, and I think he goes very low owned tonight just because we got guys like Giannis, we got Doncic on the slate. We have, Trae Young. We have some of the Pacers guys stand out. So I think Jokic really goes low owned, but I would not mind taking a shot there at that price point. Also, like Jamal Murray and Will Barton, I know the prices are up, but again, the best possible matchup. So I do have interest in those two guys. The other options, Millsap and Harris, not really for me. These bench guys, I don't think we have to do it. I mean, it is a really good spot. You could take shots from like Plumlee or Michael Porter Jr. has been playing well. I don't hate that. But really the main interest there is those top three guys, Jokic, Jamal Murray, and Will Barton. On the Washington side, now that we have no Brad Beal, again, there is more blowout risk. They don't have him listed out, but he did just get ruled out. So do not play Brad Beal. I think Jordan McRae stands out as probably the best play here on the Washington side. He's starting now too. I just think secures his minutes for about 30 to 35. He's flashed the most upside. I think he's going to be really popular, but I think he stands out at that price. Don't mind Troy Brown, who I think goes a lot lower owned compared to McRae. But if you want to pivot off of a high ownership guy, I would not mind taking a pivot there on Troy Brown. Isaiah Thomas got ejected that last game. Only played 1 minute. I think he probably gets somewhere between 20 to 30 minutes at this price point with a lot of guys out. He's okay option. Mahimi, probably not for me at that price. Ish Smith, the price is coming up for him. Again, him and Isaiah will kind of split the minutes. Gary Payton started, played 35 minutes. If he's going to continue to play those type of minutes, I think you got to have some interest here at that price. AP as well at 3.4, don't hate it. He's another one. He's kind of in the range of those Atlanta bigs, right? Probably get around 15 to 20 minutes. So if you're going more stars and scrubs, like you can consider a guy like that. And that's kind of my interest here for Washington. So it's probably Jordan McRae 1. I know it's going to be really popular. I don't mind Troy Brown or Gary Payton either. Ish Smith and Isaiah Thomas are fine as well. Yeah, I think you can take shots and bits and pieces here. Again, I think my favorite play, though, would be Jordan McRae. Move on to Boston and Chicago. On the Boston side, we have no Kemba Walker. So I think Marcus Smart stands out as one of the best plays in the slate. I know he had a really good game. His ownership's going to be through the roof. I'll be eating the chalk here, though. I think he gets around 35. His upside is just so much higher when he plays the point guard. So Marcus Smart, one of my favorite plays of the day there. He's going to be super high owned, but I will be eating the chalk. The wings with Tatum, Brown, and Hayward, I think are perfectly fine. I think they're very much in play. With no Kemba, their usage does go up. So if you land on Tatum, if you land on Brown, if you land on Hayward, no issue with that. Cantor is going to play. He's more of just a GPP option, though, because his minutes are limited. I kind of like Daniel Tice at 3.8 as a value guy. I think 20 to 25, somewhere in that range. Not a guy that has huge upside, but he's priced under 4K, and we do want to target bigs against Chicago. So I do have some interest there in Daniel Tice at that price. And that's really it. So I guess I'm going to rank my plays here for Boston. It would probably be Marcus Smart 1. This is taking price into consideration. Smart 1, Tice 2, and then those wings. If you land on one of those guys, no issue with that. On the Chicago side, it's basically a fade here. I mean, I like the price for Levine, but I don't see myself getting there on this slate. One of the worst possible matchups. Same thing with Markkanen and Wendell Carter Jr. I guess my favorite play here would be a guy Chris Dunn at 4.7. Gets around 30 or so minutes. He's not a super high usage guy, but as a more of a value guy, I'm fine if you get there. But that's really the interest there for Chicago. So not a whole lot I like. If we move on to the Spurs-Milwaukee game, again, I talked about this in the video. If you think this game stays close, you're probably going to want to target one of either Aldridge or DeRozan, who I think are underpriced. Again, Milwaukee plays at a really, really fast pace, which is good, but they are solid defensively. But again, if the Spurs can keep it close, most likely Aldridge or DeRozan, one of those two are going to have a big game. Now, we have no DeJounte Murray, which there is more usage to go around. That's a good thing. I think Derek White stands out as a pretty good value play. He's going to start, I think, around 25 or so minutes, maybe a little bit more. And at this price point, even in a tough spot, I do think he stands out as one of the better value plays of the day. If you want a pivot off of a higher owned Derek White, you could look to Forbes and Mills, who minutes should go up. Maybe even a guy like Lonnie Walker. I think he gets a little more run. Again, Popovich, a little hard to trust the rotations, but I think Forbes, Mills, and Lonnie Walker are all guys you can take shots on. I think, again, more of the cash game play there would be Derek White because he's starting. I think the Nets about 25. Rudy Gay, not really for me. I mean, the price is okay, but I don't think we have to do it. I mean, I guess. I don't know. They might use him defensively to guard Giannis at 4.3K. He's okay if you land on him, I think. Pirtle and Trey Lyles, probably not for me. So, all in all, probably my favorite play here would be Derek White, taking price in consideration. And then if you're going to target a guy like Giannis, you're probably going to want to run it back with either Aldridge or DeRozan, who I think are underpriced, but there is blowout risk in this game. So let's move on to the Milwaukee side. On the Milwaukee side, we have no DiVincenzo. I mean, he was playing decent minutes. That's not really a huge deal. They have a lot of other guys they can use as well. Connaughton, Matthews, Korver. They just have a lot of guys they can dust off and get more runs. So that doesn't do a whole lot for me. My main interest here is Giannis at 11.5. That is a little bit underpriced. It's, again, do you think the Spurs keep it close? If you do, you're probably going to want to target Giannis here at a discounted price. I really like him. It's just, again, do you think San Antonio keeps this game close? So I do like Giannis. Again, there is value guys where we can fit more of the stars and scrubs build if you want to go that way. But I think Giannis really stands out as a spend up if the game does stay close. Middleton, probably not for me. Bledsoe, the minutes have been limited. I can't play him until I see him play more consistent minutes. The secondary pieces, get a little bit extra run at DiVincenzo, but nothing I feel great about. So it's really Giannis for me, and that's it on the Bucks. We got 3 more games here with Pistons, Golden State. So we still have no Blake Griffin, no Luke Kennard, no Markieff Morris. So Drummond is obviously the do-it-all guy, and it's a really good spot against Golden State. There has been some trade rumors here as well. Just thought I'd bring that up. I don't think really that's going to affect him, but I think he is in play as a spend-up. I think he goes very low-owned tonight because there's just a lot of good spend-ups, right? We got Luka against Charlotte. We have Giannis against the Spurs. We have Trae Young under 10K. We have Jokic against Washington. So there is, I think Drummond goes pretty low-owned, but I don't mind taking a shot there at under 10K. I do kind of like Derrick Rose as well at 6.1. I think he gets 25, maybe 30 on the high end. They're just super, super thin, and he's going to have to be the number 2 guy in the offense coming off the bench. So I do kind of like Derrick Rose there for GPPs. Christian Wood's price is coming up. Probably not for me. I mean, maybe I'll consider him the late slate, but I can't do it on the main slate. Bruce Brown's price is coming up. He came out the bench. I don't think I can do it. Obviously can't do Sekou. The other value guys too, like Svi, Snell, Thonmaker, Frazier, don't have to do it. So it's Drummond and it's Rose for me, and that's about it on the Pistons side. On the Golden State side, so they did burn me the other night when they played Minnesota. The starters got very limited with Lee, Green, Burks, Chris, and Robinson. We do have Cauley-Stein questionable. If he plays, obviously you can't play Marquise Chris. If he misses, we could consider Chris. These are guys that let me take a sip of water here. These are guys that are fine if you land on. I can't feel really confident in the minutes right now because, the bench played well. They extended Bowman. They extended Pascal. So that is now in play. Like, if these guys aren't playing well, they're not necessarily locked into, 30-plus minutes. So Bowman, Pascal, if you want to, cheaper guys, I'm fine. They could get extended if the bench plays well. I guess my favorite play here would be Alec Burks at 6K. Now, we know he got in foul trouble, only played 22 minutes, but with no D'Angelo Russell, he has flashed upside. And he's at a reasonable price. So I think he would be my favorite play there at 6K on the Warriors side. If you land on Lee or Green or Glenn Robinson, that's okay too. But again, the minutes a little bit more sketchy now with what we see in the last game. Charlotte and Dallas. On the Charlotte side, I think Devontae Graham and Rozier stand out as pretty solid options. I think Rozier I would slightly prefer for the discount there at 6.2K. We know, again, he'll get about 35 to 40 minutes in a close game. The upside is there for him. He's a little bit inconsistent, but even on the floor games, like if he gets to 25 or so, I don't think that really kills you at his price. And we know the upside is pretty high on him when he has a good night. So I think Rozier probably stands out as my favorite play on the Charlotte side. I'm fine if you get to Graham if we have the salary. The secondary piece is really not for me with Washington, Bridges, Zeller, Biyombo, Bacon, Monk. I don't think we have to do it. It's a tougher spot against Dallas, so really my only interest is Graham and Rozier, probably Rozier being my favorite. On the Dallas side, so Luka stands out as a good spend up here. The one downside is just the price, 12.4. But there's a lot of value on this slate. And if you feel comfortable with enough of those value guys who I've talked about a decent amount already, you can for sure spend up on Luka. Again, Luka, we got Giannis, we have Trae Young, we have Drummond, we have Jokic. There's a lot of different ways you can go. And there are value guys where no value guy really stands out as a great play, but there's guys you can take shots on. So Luka, if you have the salary, I think stands out as a really good play with no Kristaps. His upside is huge. As far as the other guys, really not for me. We still have no Hardaway as well. That'll open up more minutes for Seth Curry, Barea, DeLon Wright. DeLon Wright is probable, though, so I just can't trust the rotations right now with those guards. They'll ride at the hot hand. Curry's price is up. Barea's price is up. It's not for me. So it's really Luka, and that's it on the Dallas side. Finally, last game of the night, Pelicans, Kings. So my original build, I had a game stack in this game. I don't know. I think that's going to be very contrarian. I like this game as a spend up, but I don't know if it's going to be the ideal build just because everyone's price is up. Like, I wish guys were just a little bit cheaper. Like, I really like Ingram, Drew, Favors, Lonzo. It's a good spot with De'Aaron Fox playing on the opposite side. They play at a faster pace, but all their prices are up. So, yeah, I still think, like, if you're making multiple lineups, I still think you might want to throw one stack of this game in just because I think it has a good chance of staying close. Two teams don't play a whole lot of defense. So, yes, Ingram, Holiday, Favors, Lonzo are my main interest there, those top four guys. Josh Hart, Etuan Moore, and JJ Redick will all get about 25 or so minutes. If you want to take a shot in one of those guys, that's fine as a value guy. Don't really have an issue. But yeah, like I said, I just wish Ingram, Drew, Favors, and Lonzo's price were a little bit cheaper because I would be all over this game. I still have interest, but it just makes it tougher because of the guys and their salaries. On the Kings side, the same thing, right? I saw this game and I was like, oh, I am going to game stack this game for sure. But the prices are all up. Like Fox, you guys know I really like De'Aaron Fox, one of my favorite plays to play for DFS. He has huge upside, and this is one of the best possible spots, but his price is 8.6K. So it makes it tricky. Again, I still have interest in him, even at elevated price point. I think Buddy Hield stands out as a really good play as well. He'll get about 35 or so minutes. Again, a really good spot here. So Hield and Fox, I do have interest, even at elevated price points. Don't mind Holmes either. Bogdan is questionable. That's he isn't expected to play. Oh, wait, that was Friday. My best guess is he's going to be out. If he is out, then we can look to a guy like Trevor Ariza, who I think it's a little bit more run. I think he would be an okay value play. But that's really what I got for the Kings. So bear with me 1 second here as I look to make sure we got any more news. We don't. Okay. Okay, so let me get to questions here. Let's see. Again, if you guys enjoyed this content too, would appreciate if you hit that like button. Free videos, free live streams, free Twitter. But let's do it. What about McRae for 5,800? Yeah, I think McRae stands out as a really good play. Leonard Smart. I would definitely go Marcus Smart there. Beal's out. Yep. Prior choice, Drummond or Sabonis? That's a good question. Both in really good spots. If you're targeting Trae Young, you're probably going to want to run it back with one of those Pacers guys. If you think the game blows out, then you obviously go Drummond. So it's kind of up to you, right? Like there is blowout risk for sure there with Atlanta being super, super thin. But if you're playing Trae Young, I probably would want to run it back with one of those Pacers guys. McRae, good play. Yeah, I think McRae stands as a really good play. De'Aaron Fox can get you Luka numbers. He can. And that's why I still have interest even at an elevated price point. Like Fox, again, when I first looked at this slate, I saw that game and I was like, that's my build. I'm going to play Fox, I'm going to play Ingram, I'm going to play Favors, I'm going to play Hield, and then get some value guys. But they're all priced up. And I still think that is viable. Like I still think that build is viable. It's just going to be more contrarian today. Yeah, Fox and 7,200 for FanDuel. That is the steal. I would be all over that on FanDuel. McRae rate, it's about buying low for production. Will Barton or Kevin Love, same price. That's a good question. I think both are very, very similar. Both are in decent spots, or both are in good spots. I think I would slightly lean towards Barton because he just has a little bit better matchup, but both are pretty solid. Michael Porter Jr., he's worth a shot. I can't feel confident about him minutes, but he has been playing well. They've given him a little bit more run. Locks. I don't have any locks today. I think, locks is not in my vocabulary. If you guys follow me in the preseason, locks is no longer in my vocabulary. But I think Marcus Smart stands out as a really good play. I think Derek White as a value guy. So those two as value guys, I think stand out as probably my favorite plays. Henson a good play with no Zizic and increased minutes recently. Has he been? I mean, let me see his minutes. He's 3.3. I still don't think I can do it. I mean, with no Nance out, he will get probably about 15 or so. Is Burke solid for cash? That's a good question. I think he's fringe cash viable. Again, we have seen the upside, the huge upside of Alec Burks, so I think he is fringe cash game viable. Let's see. Fox, Giannis, and Luka, and all scrubs, LO, I just might. I mean, like I said, that is definitely a viable build, going all stars and scrubs. Let's see, Buddy Hield or Rashawn Holmes, Barnes, Etuan Moore, Bielitsa, Trevor Ariza. So I will go Buddy Hield over Holmes, and then Barnes, Etuan Moore, or Bielitsa, or Ariza. I'll go Bielitsa and Ariza for now. A good cheap small forwards. George Hill. Yeah, George Hill might get a little bit more run. He's okay. Let's see, good cheap small forwards. Let's see. I think Hunter's okay. I mean, he'll probably get decent run. I think C.D. Osman's a decent value there, with no Nance, with no Kevin Porter Jr. Michael Porter Jr., you can always take a shot. I'm a little bit, don't really know what his minutes are going to be like. Sorry, give me 1 second, guys. Okay. So Ariza, I think if Bogdan is out at 3.9K, probably gets about 25 to 30. I think he's okay. And then you're getting in the territory of guys that you're not going to feel great about, but some of those Hawks guys, right, like Alan Crabb, maybe DeAndre Bembry. Again, those guys will get more minutes. I can't feel confident with, one guy versus another there. Let's see. George Chelsea, Herter's fine, but he is kind of priced up. I don't know if I want to go there. Trey Heald, Michael Porter Jr., or Fox, SGA, and Redick. Good question. I would go Trey Heald and Michael Porter Jr., hoping Michael Porter Jr. gets 20 minutes. Again, his minutes have been a little bit more up and down. DK, Giannis, and Turner, or Sabonis and Tatum. Also good question. I would go Giannis and Turner there. McRae or Smart. I'll go, that's a really good question because McRae really stands out as well. I think the upside is a little bit higher for McRae. That's basically a coin flip. I think probably the cash game way is to play both those guys. I think McRae, Marcus Smart, and Derek White, and even like a Miles Turner who is underpriced. I think those guys, I know they're not necessarily super, super cheap, but those guys I feel like pretty confident in. And then even like a CD Osman, right? CD or DeAndre Hunter. Hunter's going to play more minutes, but I think I'll go CD there. Is MPJ cash viable? I don't think so. I just think I need to see him play minutes more consistently. They've been a little bit up and down, 19, 26, 11, 23. He had a really, really good shooting night. It's a great matchup. His price is pretty cheap, so it's a fringe cash game playable, I guess. I wouldn't feel great about it, though. We never say lock after what Jaren Jackson did exactly, so no, that in the preseason, again, Jaren Jackson was min price, and he got like 5 fouls in like 10 minutes and just completely busted. Red revolver for me, 40 fantasy points. Trust me, Herter's going to eat Atlanta as nobody. That's fine. I mean, like I said, go with your gut. If you feel confident about Herter, I'm not going to talk you off him. White and Turner, yeah, I think Derek White and Miles Turner are perfectly fine. Like I said, those guys stand out as pretty good options. You talking preseason min price, Jaren? Yep, I am talking about that, Jake. That was terrible. Again, I said lock button and then just looked like a clown when he completely got like 5 fouls in like 10 minutes. Smart, Holiday, McRae, or Rose rate 1 through 4. Oh, between those. Okay, so good question. I like all 4 of those guys a good amount. I will go McRae and Smart basically tied for first. I think you play both those guys in cash games. I think Holiday would be next and then Rose last. Again, Rose won't play the huge minutes, but he is in play for GPPs. Who are the value plays again? White and so I think I know these guys aren't necessarily like really cheap, but it's White, it's Marcus Smart, it's Jordan McRae, even Miles Turner. Again, those are the guys I can feel like pretty confident in. If you want to go really stars and scrubs, you can take shots on those cheap Atlanta bigs. You can take shots on those cheap Atlanta wings. A couple of other guys have talked about, but I really can't recommend them with confidence. Glenn Robinson revenge, that's true. Don't mind Glenn Robinson. Who's MPJ? Michael Porter Jr. on Denver. He's been getting a little bit extended run here recently. Garrison Matthews worth a shot? Probably not. I know he has had a couple good games, so he's so scoring dependent. I would feel more confident with those other guys I talked about, McRae, Troy Brown. Bielitsa's okay at 5.5. Don't mind it. Let's see. Jaylen Brown or Tatum? Good question. I will go. They're pretty similar price, right? I believe. Let's see. Boston, Brown. It's Brown 7.4 versus Tatum at 8K. I'll take the discount on Brown. It's pretty similar play, to be honest. Redick or MPJ, both at 4,000. I really can't feel confident about either. Redick is scoring dependent. His minutes are about 25. Michael Porter Jr. minutes have been a little bit more up and down. I'll go Michael Porter Jr. there. It's pretty close. So Hunter or Osman, I'll lean towards Osman. I think he gets around 30 with no Kevin Porter Jr. Hunter is a guy, though, that has had upside games. He's just very, very up and down. And again, they do have a lot of other wings they can use. Do you prefer Crab or Bembry? I guess Crab because he's getting a little bit more run. But yeah, I guess would slightly lean towards Crab. Do you think that Bledsoe is going to have more minutes? He could, but I can't target him with confidence until I see him playing like 25 to 30 minutes a night. I'm rolling with White, McRae, Giannis, Aldridge, Turner, Smart, Burks, and Len. Yeah, I like that a good amount. that's probably going to be something. Again, I am going to mess around with my lineup after lock because I have no one in that early game. So I'm just going to stick with what I have now and then finalize my lineup there in the next 30 minutes after lock. Alex Len does have upside, yeah, for sure. No John Collins, no Parker. I think he gets about 25 or so minutes, maybe a little bit more, and he definitely has the most upside by far out of those bigs. So I'm fine if you land on Len there at 4.6. GPP FanDuel, what do you think? What do you think about Len, Chris, Tice trying to get about 70 fantasy points from the 3? So, Chris is dependent on the Will Cauley-Stein news. If Stein gets ruled in, I can't go Chris. And again, that's going to be, you're not going to get that news most likely until after lock. So I don't think you can go Chris right now just because that really is dependent on Willie Cauley-Stein. So between, I don't think I could play Chris right now, again, just for that reasoning. Len and Tice are solid value options in my opinion. But Chris, it's really dependent on Willie Cauley-Stein. I could see Fox locking down Alonzo, to be honest. He dominated him in college. I do, like I said, that can definitely happen. And I still like Fox, even at elevated price. I think it's just more contrarian. Do you have any thoughts on Aaron Gordon, 5.8, starting at the 4? Really bad spot. It's probably not for me. I don't think we have to do it. Let's see. Dwight Powell or Kleber versus Hornets bigs. I like the matchup a lot, but they're both priced up. I guess it's fine if you land on one of the guys, but I don't think they stand out as really great plays because of their elevated prices. Rose, Luka, Fox, Rozier, rank please. Okay, so they're all over the place for prices. So if price doesn't matter, it would be Luka obviously, and then it's just a tough question because they're all over the place for prices. I think Rozier is a good play in the mid-range. I think Fox is more of a contrarian play because of his price, but I still like him. Rose, only for GPP. So, sorry, Chris, that's just a tough question because they're all over the place for prices. Obviously, you can get to Luka and feel confident with value. Go Luka. I think Rozier is a solid cash game play. I think Fox and Rose are more GPP options. Thoughts on Tristan Thompson? I would rather play Kevin Love for a little bit more. I like his upside. Are we liking Tice again? I think Tice stands out as a decent value play. I think he gets 20 to 25 minutes. He's under 4K, so I think he's perfectly fine. Rozier or Burks? Good question. I think it's Rozier for cash games because he's going to play more minutes, but Burks does have the upside as well. So it's Rozier cash, Burks for GPP. DeRozan or Hield in cash? I'll lean towards Hield because of the potential for a blowout there in the San Antonio game. What's a good center to go with? What are you looking at for prices, right? Like, if we take a look at center, if you're looking more to spend up, it's Drummond or Jokic or even Sabonis. I think those guys stand out. If we're looking more towards mid-tier, I think it's Kevin Love. And if you're looking for more cheap option, I think Miles Turner at that price hands out as a pretty decent option. I think Alex Len is fine at his price. His upside is somewhat high with all those guys out. And then if you want to get really cheap, like Tice or even like Fernando or Jones, who are both starting. Again, I'm not super confident in these guys' minutes. I think 15 to 20 from Jones and Fernando sounds about right. Let's see. Garland or Sexton? I'll take Garland for the savings there if we're taking price in consideration. Laurie or Burks? I'll go Burks there. Who will play Bogdan's minutes if he is out? I think Trevor Ariza gets a little more run, maybe Corey Joseph. So I think it would probably be Ariza. I think he gets 25 to 30. My issue with Ariza is just he's such a low usage guy. You got to hope he knocks down those threes. McRae, George Hill, MPJ, Sabonis, Jokic, Smart, Aldridge, Len for GPP. Perfectly fine. Again, I don't mind George Hill. He probably will get a little more run. He's pretty cheap actually, right? He's 3.9. That is pretty cheap. So I think George Hill actually is a pretty decent option at 3.9. So yeah, that is no issue with that lineup at all. Terry or D Rose? Again, I'll go Rozier for cash just because the minutes, he's playing more minutes, but D Rose for GPPs. I do like the upside quite a bit on D Rose as a GPP option. Lonzo Ball or Buddy Hield? I'll go Buddy Hield there. Fox or Sabonis? Man, you're killing me. Two of my favorite players. Well, I'll leave it with this, right? Are you targeting Trae Young or some of those Atlanta guys? If you are, probably going to want to play Sabonis. If you're completely fading that game, then I think you go De'Aaron Fox. How do you feel about LaMarcus Aldridge? I think Aldridge is pretty good. I think he's underpriced. Both him and DeRozan are underpriced. If you think the Spurs keep that game close, which is a big if, there's definitely blowout risk. I think one of those two guys will have to have a big game, maybe even both. So if you're targeting Giannis, maybe run it back like Derek White and one of either Aldridge or DeRozan, I'm perfectly fine with that build. LaMarcus or DeRozan, I always slightly lean towards Aldridge. Let's see, McRae, White, Garrison Matthews, okay, Giannis, Tice, Smart, DeRozan, Trae Young. I like that a good amount. Again, you're banking on the Spurs keeping it close, which is perfectly fine. Willie Cauley-Stein playing. Okay, so that definitely takes Chris out of play. We cannot play Marquise Chris. Willie Cauley-Stein himself, not for me. He's 5.1, so don't think we have to do that. You like Aaron Holiday? I do. I think he's a pretty solid play at his price. I think he gets about 30 or so minutes, and it's one of the best possible spots. So I do have interest in Aaron Holiday. Him, Marcus Smart, and Jordan McRae kind of in that mid-tier stand out as pretty good options in my opinion. Wood or Porter or Bruno. Well, again, different prices here. So I don't think I would go Wood. He's, 5.9? Yeah, 5.9. And then we have, who are the other options? Porter. We're talking about Michael Porter, right? 4K or Bruno at min price. Again, it's kind of dependent on what you want to do with other guys in your lineup. I mean, I think Michael Porter Jr. has a lot of upside if he gets 20 to 25 minutes. So I guess go with him, but that's kind of a difficult question because you got guys like different positions. Garrison Matthews, decent value at all. You can take a shot there. He will get some decent minutes. I just feel more confident with McRae. I feel more confident with Troy Brown, some of those other guys. Even like a Gary Payton. Best scrubs. Yeah, so like I said, right now I'm probably going more towards, I don't know, like a lot of those guys, not necessarily value guys, but McRae, Smart, Aaron Holiday, even Miles Turner. Those guys in the, and I know they're not necessarily value plays, even like a Troy Brown. But if you want to get like really cheap options, again, I think Daniel Tice is fine. I think one of the point guards like Ish or Isaiah is okay. You could always take shots on those Atlanta wings or one of those bigs with Fernando Jones or Crabbe, Bembry, right? I think C.D. Osman's a decent play at his price of 4.3. George Hill even at 3.9 is fine. Daniel Tice at 3.8. Let's see. Thanks, man. Yeah, of course. A Michigan versus Michigan State tomorrow. Yep, that's a big one. I think it's like early game too, but I'll definitely be watching that. Hopefully we can pull it off and no livers. Who do you prefer, Holiday or McRae? Pretty good question. I'll slightly lean towards McRae, but I do like both. I know we're talking about NBA, but how's NFL going for everybody? What's the score of that game? It's 11 to 16. I have a lot of the guys in my NFL lineup. I played a lot in the Sunday games. Let me see. I only have Kenny Stills and the Texans D. I mean, this game is kind of ugly. That's all I have right now. Let's see. Drummond, best center. If you're spending up, it's a close call with him or Jokic or even Sabonis. You demand DK, good luck tonight. Thanks, man. Good luck to you as well. Favorite value big men. Again, Tice or Miles Turner if you can get there, or if not, you could always take a shot on one of those really cheap guys, those Atlanta guys. But yeah, I wish I could give you like a confident answer, like, oh, this is my favorite big man. But yeah, I feel more confident with those guys kind of in the mid tier that I talked about with Smart, with Jordan McRae, with Aaron Holiday. But yeah. Even C.D. Osman is very kind of don't mind that. As far as, I can take a quick look at ownership. I really don't think anyone's going to be owned in this game. Vucevic in this $30 tournament is 20% owned. That does kind of surprise me at his price. I really don't think anyone else is going to be owned, though. Yeah, it's a complete fade. Again, I'm going to work on my lineup, and I still don't have it finalized, but I bought myself 30 minutes with just fading this game. Yeah, all right, I'm going to hop out here, guys. I do appreciate all you guys coming to check out the video, the live streams. I'll be back for another video to break down the NBA slate on Sunday. I'll have that out probably later tonight, if not tomorrow morning. But thanks again, guys, and good luck, and I will see you guys all tomorrow.